convey this translator.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to our channel. Today we have a great news. We had flirted with this amount for quite some time, and today, Monday, February 17th, we finally booked the customer who brought us our MRR to $3,000 in sales. Ta-da! So this is the great accomplishment, and in general, January was a good month. We had a lot of activity, which probably was fueled by a combination of search engine optimization, online ads, Google ads, and some New Year's resolutions. But gradually in February, this enthusiasm that people built into their startups, into their new initiatives, faded away, and the amount of cancellations, the so-called churn, customer churn, had increased. So we were hit with a pretty flat growth for a few weeks, and which made me questioning, like, how can we get to the 3,000 in sales this month? So luckily in the second half of the month we were able to finally attain this number, and we're working hard to keep the momentum going by issuing some really important bug fixes. We discovered a few things to fix the JavaScript parser and the WordPress plugin. We issued a few significant updates. We have improved cosmetically the website. I continue shooting some educational videos, making sure users are in the good hands, and remarkably, despite us having over 10,000 users in general, we have very little support requests. That means the product has been perceived adequately. If there are some problems with WordPress installations in general, it's only because users have misconfigured their own WordPress. It's not on our side. It's not our plugin's fault. So it's a strong product with great potential, and we at the startup, we have quite good stance and burnout rate. We have kept our expenses extremely low. We are very lean and bootstrapped startup. We try to go into ways where we don't have to spend that much money. That's why this year we're not investing again for the second year in a row into events such as WordCamps and similar events. We try to be recognized mostly by Google, by search engine optimization, investing more into content creation. I hired a few writers, copywriters who create our blog updates. I'm frequently updating the blog myself, and we're distributing this content on all possible media and social networks, and overall it's looking great. The only problem I encountered so far is our partnership with the marketing agency called Whale Pages. To me, I discovered their YouTube channel. It had around 30 subscribers back in the day. It was launched a few months ago, but I was searching for anything related to Saas marketing, and their website and offer seemed to be promising. So we struck the deal. We paid them a subscription fee, and we wanted to get some exposure. And their main offer was to provide some sort of interviews. I know some our competitors do that. They find other websites owners and they interview them, and those interviews they published on their blogs, on their social media outlets, and this gives you a little bit of this exposure. So we try to do the same thing through that agency, since we don't have the full-time staff to handle it. And I got deeply disappointed because it was back in November, then it was December, January, February, 4 months, and nothing significant has been delivered. So these guys fell badly on the deadline, and our original deal was I would provide them with some positive feedback about their work so we can refer them some more business. But despite me being a nice guy, I'm trying to do my best and really help out fellow Saas entrepreneurs. I just cannot do that to you, to be in all fairness. They don't deliver. They don't do what they promised to do. If I would be a business owner in their shoes, I would work my ass off. I would just be emailing out and outreaching to anybody I could. But them, they just let it slip off until I email them and ask them like, how's it going? They don't even follow up with you. So I would not recommend this marketing agency for your SaaS marketing. And let's keep looking for something better. If you have in mind something interesting in this market sphere, let me know. I'm an entrepreneur, and this year I'm looking to launch more businesses, and hopefully marketing could be also one of those businesses, because every startup needs marketing. Google AdWords are very expensive. Facebook ads are also very expensive. So the best way to get customers is by word of the mouth. But word of the mouth has to be coordinated very carefully, and you have to understand what really goes behind the scenes, behind the lines, and how to orchestrate this viral growth, how to spark it, how to make it, how to bring the virility to the marketing. This is the big question for most companies. That's why some companies become successful, like Dropbox and Facebook, and some companies we never hear about. They just burn out all their money, all their VC capital, angel capital, their family and friends capital, and just go out of business. So that's the statistics. 95% of the companies fail, and they fail because the owners usually give up. Speaking of giving up, I'm a frequent user of Medium.com. I subscribe to their daily email blasts. They send me articles on relationships, on marketing, on business ownership. And one of the recent articles I read about the guy who runs the web studio, he was building websites for his clients, and at some point they grew to 6 people, but nevertheless they failed. And the core failure mechanism for them was the clients they were trying to attract always kept changing their mind. They were giving them the hard time, because you as an agency try to please everybody, and the clients, since they don't know what they want, they kept changing their requirements en route. When you are close to deliver the job, they change the requirements. They tell, hey, why you didn't include the WhatsApp messenger into my website? Or why did you include this web form into my website? Didn't you know that this is the standard? So they always try to argue and make you look like a fool, but you are just a developer, a designer. You just do what you've been told. But since most clients do not understand the full requirements, they have vague requirements in the beginning of the journey. They feel unsatisfied, unhappy, and this is not a rewarding job. You build a website, you build a website for a client, and in the end of the day, they give you the grumpy face and not happy with it. So that's the core for the business. Like, you as an owner, you are surrounded by negativity, and all this money you're getting is only to break even. It eats up all the profits, change of the orders. So that's what really inspired me, because as an entrepreneur, I also deal with such clients, and I understand that the great distinction between free users who just ask questions. They provide you some feedback. They find some bugs. They're good in some way, but in the other way, the percentage of paid users in the freemium business models is pretty low. It's 1 to 2% the most, right? So you're dealing with a boatload of free users and very few ones that are actually need to be focusing on and replying to all their emails. We at Convey This, we try to consider every user as our paid users. We have a counter of email support requests. Today I checked the email, the counter. We are, guess how many support requests down? We started from support request number 1, and the number is being incremented by 1 with each new customer trying to contact us. And in 2 years, the support number request rose to a whooping 325. So only 325 users actually tried to contact support and get the answers to their questions. The rest is just common sense. People understand how to download the plugin, how to activate the languages, how to copy the API key, and such and such and such. So this is a great success. So with that light volume of support requests, we're trying to do our best for every user, and we do work from Monday to Friday. That's why we rarely now reply on Saturday and Sunday, but in general we try to help every user regardless of what we say in our price menu. You know, the pro users get like dedicated support and free users get like light email support. No, we try to support everybody. This is still feasible.
Convey This translator.
We're not as busy as some of our competitors are. Because some competitors say like, oh, we have 17 people now. We cannot get lunches in a local restaurant. We're such a big company. But in my opinion, you're fools, because it's not about people count. You can scale the company by working smarter, by building the processes in that are already commonplace in the business world. There are so many startups. There are so many ways to outsource and still gain the ownership of the startup, of the process. And hiring people is just a very painful process. I don't want to even get into this. You know, we would rather unhire a person than hire, because I'm like Steve Jobs. I'm trying to be very ruthless. Like, I would rather say 99% times no than yes. If somebody asked me for the project for a new feature, I would always inquire, is this feature good enough? Is it really going to solve the problem? Is it easy enough to understand? To me, my basis of the lifestyle is one button. This is what Steve Jobs did. He said, like, the iPhone should have only one button, home button. That's it, nothing else. And this is the philosophy I'm trying to stick with. This is something that I should be looking toward to. So I would rather say no than yes. I would rather fire than hire. And with that in mind, I'll always look for ways, like this company, Whale Pages. I brought them as a contractor, right? I paid them good amount of money. I could have probably saved on a new jacket or something else, but I paid to them, and I said, let them deal with this problem, rather than me hiring from scratch, posting an ad, screening people, bringing them to board, training them, then controlling them, and then firing them, and then if they file for unemployment insurance, paying their unemployment insurance. This is like, instead of one step, you're getting 7 other steps. It's too much for a startup. Startups are not able to do that. It's only big companies like JP Morgan can afford internships, apprenticeships, some learning programs. I'm not the institute. I can spend some time with you on the camera just to tell you what's the status is for the startup well-being, but I'm not able to spend my valuable time of an entrepreneur at this very hour. It's 11 o'clock a.m. and I should be working, right? So this is my prime time when I'm awake, when I can understand all the issues. And this is the prime time I should be actually working and doing the most important thing, not just screening resumes, telling you, hey, do the work faster. You're not doing it properly. You have to fix this. You have to fix that. This is the labor work. The entrepreneur should not do the labor work. The labor work does the office manager, the supervisor. So entrepreneur has to think at the system level. What you can do to eliminate this job, what you can do to bring some efficiency into the process. How can you make this work with fewer people? 17 people? This is stupid. How can you make the same job with 3 people? Maybe 4, okay? That's the level of understanding you should bring to the company. The good example is Bill Gates. When he was building Microsoft, the company structure was flat. It was flat to up to 60 people. Can you imagine 60 people under his belt, under his management, and all of them mostly programmers. No office managers, no marketing managers, no bookkeepers, no all this BS type of works or positions, only programmers. He was hiring the people who could write the code. And only at some point he hired one 40-year-old lady to do some office work, like secretary, like payroll, bookkeeping and stuff. Only then, at 60 people, work up. That's because they needed labor. They needed people to write the code, because the programs Microsoft was writing was for the marketplaces, just like we're dealing today. We have to be in all marketplaces, in WordPress, Shopify, Weebly, Wix, Volusion, Squarespace, Webflow, and multiple other frameworks, because today integrations are the key. And Bill Gates dealt the same problems back in the 80s. There was also popping up marketplaces. There was no Apple store, there was no Google store, but there was still marketplaces. There were marketplaces for IBM PC computers, there were marketplaces for Mac computers, marketplaces for some unknown today competitors like DEC computers or Xerox, and so on and so on. So the history repeats itself, but the core issue is, if you're a startup, don't focus on this BS type of jobs, like people bringing you coffee to the office. No, I can go myself and get myself coffee in the office. What I can do is to really focus on the product and support and actual features and distribution. And a lot of things can be done frugally, very ascetically, in-house, by bootstrapping. I bootstrap my companies all the time. People offer me money, people tell me, hey, we're a VC firm, like and subscribe, we're gonna bring you management, bring you this, bring you that. Maybe. At some point I will consider this for 5% of the company, just like Bill Gates did with Microsoft, because his growth was so big, he couldn't handle this himself, even being a Harvard dropout. You have to bring somebody like more experienced than you to run the company at the CEO level. But first you need to be bringing a couple of $1 million a year in sales. You have to have people in-house to deal with the local labor laws and on and on and on. So that's the only way you can bring the VC, just to sell a little bit fraction of your company, just to get somebody professional from their board to help you run the company, but not replace you. So in the end of the day, we're at 3,000 MRR to this point. It's 2020 February. We keep growing. The next target is 3,500 MRR. So stay tuned, stay subscribed to our channel. I would like to thank you for watching this video to this very end, so you can hear my final say to you. Thank you so much for your support, for your viewership. I hope to see you again. My name is Alex. I'm the American entrepreneur.
Convey this translator.